who wants to be in,
Well, we did it for
Project
manager
manager.
people.
Yeah.
for project manager interviews?
Sure.
Really?
I would, but see, I would
Okay.
think that if you had a project
You
management,
think so?
a
Okay,
project
okay.
management ad hoc committee, they could disseminate, if you got 20 applications, right?
Would that be nice? Maybe it wouldn't be.
To maybe disseminate, the top 5 to bring to the entire committee. Does that sound more
Well,
reasonable?
okay, so interview date is it in the?
June 18, Wednesday,
June
June
18, so
18.
if, are you saying that, we should go ahead and meet, if there's a large number of candidates, we should advertise and then present it to CCAC? Or are you saying you want to be part of the June 18? Okay, so mark your calendars then, June 18.
It's that afternoon.
It seemed to me that if you had, 10 or whatever, there's just certain criteria that you could eliminate,
Right.
and get down to the top 5, 3, of which the entire committee would want to interview.
So you're saying the project management subcommittee will be involved?
The filter.
Weigh
the
it down
first
to the
filter.
top 5.
Well, that's if,
That's
if we have a huge number.
Okay, yeah,
Okay,
that's what I
if we
was
don't,
saying.
if we have a reasonable number, I think everybody learned a lot, and there were good comments for every single person we interviewed from the different members of the committee. And Phil had that wonderful,
Matrix.
matrix.
When,
So Phil may be doing another matrix.
let's look at real dates. So the next
And
meeting
that's
is
what happened
when?
though, we only had a handful of applicants.
When's our next
Well,
meeting?
I think we had 4 and one.
It's on your
we only had
agenda,
3.
So we don't know what will happen.
June 12th, I think it is.
So June 9th, it's 9th, is our next meeting, and the RFPs come in on the 5th, and so by the 9th, you could, you're away, right? But the 3 of us can talk about, are there 20 things and we have to weigh it down to 5, or are there just 4 or 5 really obvious ones? And then it could get discussed on the June 9th meeting.
It could.
The timing works, it's fine. Yeah, and if there are too many, then we could, at June 9th, even after the 9th, we could weed it down. Because you have to the 18th,
Yeah, but that raises another question. So Gordon, would
yeah, we don't have to make a decision.
let's say, for example, that we get 50 responses, but you go through and you find that some of them don't meet the initial criteria.
It's like
They're more
30
than
hours.
50 miles.
Should
Yeah.
be
The
the whole
council
day.
meeting.
So would you be doing an initial screening?
At least it's not the morning.
Change that.
I think we set aside from 1:30 to 6, which we thought would let us interview 3 or 4 firms. You just stack, and then we also kept Monday afternoon,
The 16th.
just in case the firm said there's no way I can do that. I can only do Monday the 16th. So. All
So
right,
if
Or
the
if we have a
proposal
whole
comes in on June
Possibly the
5th,
16th if the 18th doesn't work for them.
which is a Thursday, right?
yeah, and then by Monday, but Gordon, you're away, there's somewhere you're away in there, right?
Right there.
Right there.
Yeah, so are you in on Monday or no?
Which Monday?
9?
No, Mike will be handling that.
Okay, so you and he will be in communication to say there's 20 or there's 2, you know?
Well,
Yeah.
in either case, the
Summer.
agenda is
Summer.
required to be published 72 hours in advance.
For the CCAC?
For the CCAC.
Well, for the agenda, you can just put on it.
Correct. So we'll make
Review
sure that
of
that's on there.
project
In terms of
manager.
our Staff report or review
Short
material.
short
that
list,
won't be
short
there.
list, you know.
You can put that on today.
Confirmation.
And what about the environmental? Are we gonna be talking about that, or does staff just hire them?
No, actually, that's where my suggestion is that it's a little bit more technical. Like I said, I'm not managing it, but the deputy town planner asked that a member of the committee, participate in the process.
We want to get these people moving quickly because we have a funding expenditure challenge as well. We want to be able to.
Oh, you wanna get as much as you can.
We're not gonna have any challenges, don't worry about it.
But
No,
in
but
terms of
if
using
you have check, you
general
could get it
fund
all
money.
done before an architect.
Oh, yeah,
We have
yeah,
100%.
that's
We gotta get all
why,
stuff rolling
that's why I put it in
6
here.
months.
What about surveys? That,
Survey's been done.
It's all
it's
done.
done, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
These are done, it's done.
So is there
Survey
somebody here who
trees.
wants to participate on the environmental interview panel?
Who would like to participate on that? Anybody wanna raise
Who
their
has
hand?
experience?
I have no geotechnical experience.
I've done them a few times.
No,
it's
the
not
geotechnical would be
It's the
separate.
EIR.
Oh,
This
this is-
Geotech is pretty
this is the
broad.
EIR.
EIR.
I have experience, but who,
I don't, I'd rather not, but if I have to.
I'd say yes, but it's gonna come to the planning commission sooner or later anyway, so I can't.
Right.
Well, I have experience with EIS.
guess what, you got it.
Thank you. So we'll just have Lisa get in touch with you and when the interviews are going and.
Okay. So one thing that we wanted to start thinking about now, not for action there anyway, is in that never day when it's gonna be a long time from now, but when the plans are approved and we're in full, sign development and things like that, and the general concept's approved, we've raised our money and it's moving, what does this committee do? Some form of this committee will stay with staff, make sure that everything gets felt like we got approved and funded. It'll be around to that sort of thing, but we don't think about it yet, but would there be a project management subcommittee that needs to be with staff in some form, or what is it? We don't have to do anything yet, but just something to think of.
I think at that point, you probably only want as we talked about, a representative, because we don't want to have confusion amongst the contractors,
Yeah.
and as you know, decisions are made daily. But my suggestion is you have, a member participate in the weekly construction meetings, and that way, while I'll be reporting and giving all the materials to the CCAC, that person can, kind of raise the red flag a little bit more, with one step removed from staff.
And to maybe be a little more illustrative of what I'm getting at. So when they're actually rolling, and it's in full mode, let's just go, there are gonna be lots of little things that are gonna come up that we're gonna change the depth of the window sills from 5 inches to 3 inches, the value engineer. And the question, there are 3 kind of levels that could go to. It could go, let's say Clyde is the one who goes every week, just say he let's just say he does it. He'll go, if you want to change the nails, I get it, but if you're going to change that's architectural, then he's going to call, say, Rose and I, and say, we got to have a quick quorum. Can we let them move on this, or does this have to wait to the next monthly meeting? How does everybody feel about it? And because you're going to want a hierarchy like that, because you're not going to want to wait a month for everything. There are too many things.
I don't think.
Or the doors are going from solid core to hollow core, or whatever. There'll be a lot of that stuff coming up.
I don't know how, I'm having difficulty envisioning how it would work with the committee being involved at that level. Because,
But there'll have to be a call made for what does go to the
yeah,
committee.
if it's a significant material in the legal term,
That's
not the engineering term.
And you'll want a group that, so what it gets down to is what has to wait a month, and who's gonna officiate on that?
Because you don't have to wait a month, because you can call a meeting in 24 hours and do it.
If you can get everybody here.
I'm only gonna be writing checks, I don't care.
I would suggest that anything that triggers city council approval of a major or significant change order, it has to go through this committee first.
Yeah, so, but we have lots of time to think about this, we're gonna begin feeling how we think about that, and hope that that's our problem, that we're not going down the road, that's what we're
My
looking at.
expectation is, because this is gonna be largely new construction, this building being an exception, if we're successful enough in getting the funding to do that. Because it's new construction, the amount of change orders that would change things significantly is gonna be, my expectation would be 0.
No, the real issue is when a donor.
I've heard that before. I have heard that
I've done it with new construction.
Wow.
Remodeling, is a different story, but new construction on a site,
So what you're saying is a lot of those decisions that you're talking about maybe having to be made, those will be made upfront before
Yeah,
one
but-
shovel goes into the ground.
before the
one
council-
nail gets pounded in.
right, before the council approves
Mhm.
and authorizes the issuance of bids, that stack of, plans that are that thick and the specifications that are that thick,
Mhm.
or two volumes like that, those will have come to the committee and the council beforehand. And I wouldn't
But the
expect.
kinds of things that can easily happen, Gordon, if
And
somebody
it's what
says,
George said.
we were gonna build 5 privates, now we want 7, or now we want 3. Because things change, because something changed.
Yes,
And who does it go to, you know, and we're just gonna wanna think about that. How does it work? What happens?
I think as George said, any significant change which would require council approval,
We just have to
just like
find
we've
what
done
that
before, we wanted the CCAC,
Right.
because the council looks to you for that, more detailed.
Yeah. And then we're gonna think about it, is there, for example, a subcommittee that reviews it and then comes to that meeting saying, here's what we think. You know, but like I said, that's out in the future, but we're gonna wanna,
I
hope
think
that's our
we are
goal.
going to try, I would hope, as a committee and a town, to nail as many details down as we can before we go to the first drawing, the section of plans, and certainly before we go to the ground. Because I think shocks, surprises that come for money may not be so well received by the funding group, by the community, and by the council. So I think we need to be really buttoned up.
That's the goal.
And really, that's
Yeah.
the design
So that-
process.
You know, the only question is, well, why did you choose a yellow wall, Joe? And the answer is, we'll be back to you tomorrow. The paint color was incorrect.
Oh boy, that really happens.
I know that happens, but
If we're looking at a significant cost impact of a change, if we're looking at an exterior design change,
No.
those are things that need to come before this committee and go to the council. But if we're talking about moving some shelving from this room to that room, and there's no significant cost, that should not be before this committee.
I agree,
No, somebody has to make that decision and
Correct.
move the shelves.
Exactly.
I agree.
So back to, so I don't know ad hoc committees and reports. Any other ideas, thoughts about ad hoc committees? Should they be formed, disbanded, new scopes of work, anything further at this time?
No, I think the project manager is really good. Beyond that, I think some of the other ones need to be disbanded and budget, for instance.
Oh, that may come back though. That'll come back when we're working through. What? Doesn't matter. Yeah. Should we disband anything at this moment?
Not at this point, because the budget committee that's called budget was going to review square footage.
Until we have,
numbers.
yeah.
And I think that's going to happen.
Okay, so it's budget and square footage, got it.
That's
Okay. Great. Committee and staff member, any other items in number 5, can we move on to number 6? Great, committee and staff member comments.
We find the gold shovels. Gold
Not yet.
painted shovels.
Can we buy them before the architect?
I'm always going to get a shovel from home.
Yeah.
Doesn't cost anything.
Would that be?
Everybody bring your own shovel.
Bring your own
Bring
shovel.
shovel day.
And bring your own hard hat.
Bring your own shovel, yeah.
That would be too funny.
It would look like Atherton Eclectic.
Wouldn't that be funny?
You know, one thing we might want to start thinking about, we can talk about here, it's also getting talked about in the fundraising group, is, so I was at another fundraiser for Menlo, a thank you to fundraisers for Menlo, and I went up to one of my friendly venture capitalists I know, and who was one of the chief people in charge of that campaign, and I said, hey, it's so funny you heard it, because I was just doing my list this morning of who I'm going to talk to about the Atherton Civic Center. And he looked at me, he said, that's never going to happen.
We're talking about that.
You know, and so I think one thing in our own
That's one of the
circles.
questions we're going to address right now.
Right.
Yeah, but in our own circles, we're going to want to start repositioning that, branding it as, this is happening and it's going to be successful. And if you want to be a good steward for your town, be a citizen in your town, you're going to help, and it's time. And this generation hasn't done it. They haven't done it for a few generations in Atherton, and it's time. And God knows we have enough people with means in this town. We'll need to see if they're prepared to be a part of it and do their duty. So I think we want to start repositioning people's minds around it's happening, it's going to be successful, and you should be a part of it.
Get on board now.
Yeah.
So I just thought of a possible ad hoc committee
Yes.
that you might be thinking about, because I think it's going to be a decision that does have to come to council, is how we recognize donors, donor recognition.
I'm going to disagree with you. The proposal's going to come to the council from the fundraising committee, and it's going to be real simple.
Mhm.
Okay?
Well, all right. But-
Just
Okay.
don't jump
Just
ahead of
wait.
us.
Yeah.
Well, I just think that it will come to council. Council will decide one way or another as to how.
The proposal will come to you and this is it. Do you like it?
Mhm, mhm.
And you don't want it to come through this committee, Dee Dee?
No, no, it's gonna come, it's gotta come through.
It's gotta be separate?
Yeah. I mean, there's already plans started on it,
Okay,
okay?
you're okay with that? For now?
As long-
Wait and
yeah.
see, okay. All right. Any other business before we close? Thank you, everyone.
Nice job.
I will not be here.
Yes.
All right.
No, you're gonna miss.
I know,